Well, we're going to, and we're going to jump right in as Suluwu and Owl Gaming is going to be squaring off against FYB, FyB, FYB. I kind of like FyB.
Okay.
I kind of like FYB, but we'll figure that out on the fly. But we've got these teams pulled up on your screen here. We're going to be taking a quick look. I love the layout of Owl Gaming's team names here. Suluwu, Loosh, Don, Joe, and Feather. Easy for me to read. Wigglytuff on FyB going to give us some headaches for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that is some two-factor authentication name for sure. That Wiggly is on lockdown. Interesting team comps here, though. We have Suluwu on this Talonflame, who is a very explosive jungler, a dive in and get immediately out. But we see this Pokemon chosen a lot in the current metagame because of how popular Cinderace is worldwide. This is going to be a very strong character to move in against Cinderace, a very strong range attacker. You want to close that gap as soon as possible. So this Talonflame going to be doing wonders in that regard, making sure that the pressure is always being put on.
Fletchender now, or excuse me, Fletchling now, soon Fletchender, and soon to be, of course, the Talonflame. I love this Pokemon. It is one of the most unique ways to show off how strong your team communicates, because once Suluwu pulls the trigger on somebody, that team's got to be around them to help close the door, or else at least insulate them for retreat. So I'm excited to watch it from Suluwu's point of view. One of the, I believe, #1 ranked OCE player at one point in time. So definitely want to give them the accolades that they deserve here, as they're waiting to just poach and see if they can get the first strike in on the opposing team.
Gonna help Feather here leash this crab a little bit while making sure that EXP gets awarded to that top laner. Want them to be fed as much as possible. These bees are coming up in just 2 seconds, so right now Feather playing for a lot of dominant positioning, gets that Meteor Mash in.
Great push back by Feather into Suluwu. Now they're eyeing down that little Gibble running away and gonna give the space as Shaker TTV is gonna be kicking right fireballs into the gut there. So check them out on Twitch if they're gonna be streaming right now. But right now it's all about Suluwu and Feather. Gonna slowly work through that crab and get back into their action. And for Suluwu, that is into that farming area right in the mid path.
We saw no KO exchanges up there, but we did see a little bit on that bot lane side. The FyB Eldegoss player able to knock out their opposing matchup on the other side and get the level up. So that bot lane is definitely going to be pretty strong on the FyB side, and we even see now the two top laners giving that handshake, dunking on other side. Both of these players probably playing these attack weight stacking items. Suluwu, on the other hand, has got the benefit of being on the grass side of the arena. This is probably not something that too many people actually pay attention to, but what it allows you to do is how you rotate through the jungle, get a little bit earlier of an attack. But here we go. The Brave Bird is online, as well as the Aerial Ace. The entire toolkit for Suluwu is now at their disposal. This is a very explosive damaging Pokemon, not to mention the slow smoke tech.
Bang, right in there, just like a missile, a red missile taken out. That Gabite with no problem here, as more points are getting rained in. That's a good little 30 amount there for Suluwu, as they're just carving up more Pokemon and getting that level up. And their eye on the prize is in that bottom lane.
Really perfect time for that KO. Knew that the jungler would be rotating down early for Dreadnought, but was extremely...
Bang! Here we go. Suluwu cracked on his sticks. They're getting in there. KO1 and streak of 1. Gonna chalk it up to 2. Excuse me. Eldegoss finished off the Ivysaur, poaching out one for Suluwu's stat sheet here. And just brave birding in and attacking, getting their space and getting another KO here. As Eldegoss poaching it again. Are you kidding me? Every time I think Suluwu is closing the door, that little Eldegoss is chipping in and getting their stat sheet up. Don working through. Points are going in. And look at that. FyB trying to do work. Finally Suluwu taken out by the Eldegoss counterpart on the other side, but a good show there by Owl Gaming.
A ton of KOs happening on the other side, but it's honestly going to be a little bit of a reset for the Dreadnought pit. A little bit of that early setup going to be on the side of Owl, but look how fast it's getting burnt down. The secure already happens, and it's the Venusaur on FyB's team. Now, Owl Gaming is going to try to tip the tables and earn some KOs to nullify that experience lead they just gained. And those shields given by the Dreadnought have evaporated.
Can they finish off this Eldegoss? They're working through. Suluwu is pushing, uses the Unite move to close the gap, and they do close the door on him. Now, are they going to go with that goal zone shattering? No, they do not. They're rolling back up top. It's about Rotom now, and Suluwu gonna be on the mission. We see Wigglytuff, we see the Lucario peeling up as well, as is the Eldegoss here, and everybody's gonna congregate here and see if they can get themselves another team fight and square this thing up off the back of Rotom.
Yeah, a lot of objective focus for this team. You see Sulu even neglecting to go get their jungle buffs because of all the KOs they were able to net themselves earlier. That experience is not as much needed for in this situation. It lets them focus on the objective a bit more.
Bang, Bravebird coming in, the Eldegoss is identified and they work out, was up, gets back to their goal zone, but here they come on to the other team and they are working through as Rotom is followed down and Wazop gets taken out in the goal zone, and now everybody's working through. A good little look by Owl Gaming, still working on the Wigglytuff of Sulu. Are they going to get the pickup? Yes, they are. Look at that predictive dive with the Brave Bird by Sulu. Are you kidding me?
Despite the crypto deep dive password protection they had, Sulu able to predict nice ultimate
KO streak of 4. Oh my god. The Firebird is in fact on fire. No roasted chicken today because they're taking everybody to the woodshed, and that Garchomp is just doing their best. And finally, they're able to dispatch of Sulu, but not before their whole squad gets absolutely crumpled.
Yeah, that's true. You know the saying, all buddy barriers are going to end one day. Feather, though, here, putting in a bit of a slugfest in this enemy jungle, eventually does go down when the help of the FyB side jungler rotates in to help them. Sulu actually seems like they gave over that jungle experience to their Venusaur. Very smart decision at this point in time. Talonflame doesn't need this huge level spike because of the burst damage that they are able to pull off. Venusaur, on the other hand, is absolutely a late-game scaling character that you need.
Absolutely well read, and the fight's breaking off, and that's going to be off the back of the Venusaur. We're coming in. We see a Brave Bird. We saw a Unite move by the Venusaur coming back through, and where does Sulu go? They go with a Unite move straight into the gut of the dinosaur, and they're going to see if they can close it out. They do. Now Sulu forced to peel back to the goal zone, but they're checking the map, and they're working through. KO streak of 2 for the Cinderace on the opposite side. Look at those two players about to get KO'd here, as the Eldegoss is able to finish off one, and now they're all over this Dreadnought. Getting the advantage here is Owl Gaming, and now is FyB going to come in, Jeb and the password protected name going to try and close it out, but no, they get picked off. Does Sulu, and at least Owl Gaming's Venusaur fed is able to take that Dreadnought.
Yeah, Joe, with that pedal dance, able to get just those little ticks of damage in was enough to KO on Dreadnought. Really good read here from Lush, by the way, on the Wigglytuff, getting a nice early rotation up to Rotom just for vision. But look at this. The pressure that FyB is putting on makes them all have to rotate down, and a really nice dive by Sulu to start things off.
Sulu, like the Enola Gay, just dropping bombs on this other team here, and they're going to dive into this goal zone. It gets closed down. Is that 2 more KOs for Sulu? No, KO streak of 2 for Joe, the Venusaur, and those two are working in tandem very well now, both properly fed and waiting for their next meal, which I think Sulu thinks it's a lizard right here, as they're working through ice, and they're able to just miss with that Unite move, and the chase is on by Jeb, password protect here as Sulu uses the Brave Bird to just get out of dodge.
Yeah, really nice tech out of that Venusaur, using that full heal to negate the CC effect coming out of Sulu's Unite move. Really nice spot, but Sulu here actually faking the base and actually going to rotate into those bees. These bees absolutely free right now because look, that Rotom is headed all the way to home base. Now FyB has forced to dedicate some players over there to put a stop to that Pokemon entering into their home base. That amount of points being dunked in this point in the game could be fatal. It's a necessary objective that they have to focus on, and right now Owl is eating good. No goal zones destroyed whatsoever, and 3 down on the side of FyB with Zapdos right on the horizon. This is looking very good for Team Owl.
Owl Gaming just needs to hold fast here. Don't lose it in the last 2 minutes. They've got the experience lead. They've got the points lead. They've got the positioning lead. Don't let it fall through your fingers now because we have 2 minutes on the clock and Zapdos is here. What is FyB Gaming going to do to get in here? They have a huge lead that they're eyeing down. They knew that they just saw the big orange ticker in their face, and now they know they need Zapdos, but how are they going to get there?
A little bit more of a defensive play out of Owl here. They're playing to defend their goal zones that are very vulnerable from FyB. They're not playing for vision. Instead, they're dedicating for that defense. All right, Garchomp shows top. Is this going to initiate a rotation coming out of Owl, and the Cinderace is threatening to score, but that Braver has got some range.
Absolutely gets some range right in the mix. That's a good Unite move back. Not able to clip anybody through, but Lush is in the mix with that Sing. Going to try and catch some players down as we're watching and we're waiting for these KOs. The next Brave Bird is lined up, and and who's going to eat it? Nobody yet, nobody yet, nobody yet. Finally, Suluwu says, let's go in there, baby, bang. We're in the mix, and still nobody's down, but the buddy barriers are flying. Unite moves are all over the place as Lucario takes out the Venusaur first. Suluwu back in the mix. They get KO'd, but that's not before 3 players on FyB are down. KO streak of 2 there for Feather, and they're feeling a KO streak of 3. They're putting the team on their back up here. Zoinks. That's 4, baby. Lucario in the mix, in the house. Feather number 1. Can you dig it?
Yeah, Feather absolutely shredding through that entire team. And look, that Venusaur, I swear, never went below 50% HP in that entire engage. That Pokemon's so strong in the late game, especially when you get that second Dreadnought worth of experience, not to mention all the KOs they were getting there in that latter half of the game. Things were looking maybe a little bit scary at the start of that game when FyB was putting on a bit of pressure in that bottom lane. Early game was being threatened to go in their direction, but the Talonflame play out of Suluwu and the really, really solid play out of Feather, not to mention the nice rotations of the rest of the bot lane of Lushton and Joe, really set this team apart, and they take that win. Mid-game, early game, late game, everything was coming up Team Owl in that section.
283 to 70, no Zapdos needed in this one. Let's take a look at this damage dealt factors here. Look at Owl Joe. Look at Feather. Look at Suluwu. All with big numbers, all coordinated, and it seemed like I couldn't ever predict that Suluwu was getting that KO because someone else was in there with the support. Nobody was moving alone, and nobody was getting caught. Great work here by Owl Gaming, and really putting a stamp here on game 1 in their first showing in the OCE qualifier.
Yeah, and honestly, because of how this tournament is laid out, they are now sitting on their winning in game. If they get this next one, they have qualified themselves for the February finals coming up this weekend. So a really big game going in the next one, and what better way to do it off of a dominant win, not dropping a single goal zone against FyB in their game 1.
Let's take a moment, Zoinks. Let's talk about FyB a little bit. Obviously, we're watching from Suluwu's point of view, so we're not getting a lot of action outside of the engages to see how they're moving around the map, so we have to be a little bit predictive here. But tell me, Zoinks, I mean, they were losing on a lot of different axes here. What can they do to bring some parity just based on the interactions we've seen so far?
If FyB really, really wants to try to match what Owl Gaming is doing, they're going to need to find a way to shut down these high damage explosive maneuvers that Owl Gaming is pulling off. Right now, FyB was finding themselves in a little bit too deep, and these later rotations of the Suluwu were honestly a death sentence. Every time that Suluwu was coming for the gank, the work was done by the rest of their team to make everybody's HP bars on the side of FyB way too small. And when Talon sees that, a grin the size of Joker's is on Suluwu's face, because every Pokemon is getting deleted as soon as a nice Brave Bird initiate and the Aerial Ace just to top it all off. So if they want to do anything, it's got to be play a lot more tighter packed, and you got to punish these dives, but you got to protect yourself. You got to find a way to keep a beefier lineup in that bot lane especially.
Yeah, you know, FyB seemed to love to live in those deep waters, but if you're going to be treading deep water, you better not skip leg day. In this game, leg day is eating all of the farm up on your side of the map. And although they got Dreadnought, they got scaled so quickly because they were giving up easy KOs. They weren't together, they weren't packed up, and just off the back of the KOs that Suluwu picked up allowed the Venusaur Joe to get into that jungle, get over experience to their bottom lane counterpart, and really after that it was almost curtains. And of course Feather, where did they come from? They said, hey, don't forget about me. I know I'm top laning by myself here, but you know, I'm cracked on the sticks too, friendos. Get me in the action. And they showed up in the Zap pit after Suluwu was taken out. And maybe the best, maybe the best coordinated effort that FyB had. I mean, they at least identified, okay, Suluwu's a problem, and they attacked them in a concerted effort, able to take them out. But Feather said, no sweat, friendos, I've got you. So we're going to queue up the next game here, game 2 in this one. I'm going to get us to the character screen. I'm just going to pitch it. We've got so much stuff now that I can go ahead and update the scores.
That's right. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun doing that on our observation mode. And hey, quick shout out to everybody in chat hanging out with us. I see you, Suluwu, Feather, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope we're doing a little bit of justice for your team. Congrats on making your way to the February finals. Very, very excited to watch these games headed in. It's going to be fantastic gameplay, and you're looking quite strong.
Might be giving away a little bit of the game here by going and dropping that they qualify, but I think everybody knows at this point. I mean, Owl Gaming is a force to be reckoned with in the OCE region. But here we go. Let's just get ourselves into another one.
If everything works out the way you want it to, looking good.
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and play that. Let's go ahead and transition over here. So
we're sticking with the Garchomp pick out of FyB, but we're going into a Slowbro slot instead of the Wiggly. Very, very interesting.
The thing that stuck out to me, I don't think we mentioned in game one, was the 3 slow smokes on Owl's side. And when you have the Talonflame, you have the Venusaur going in. I mean, what a strong look that can be to isolate all those foes for that Petal Dance Giga Drain combo after a big Brave Bird.
Yeah, having those items right now and just the strength of that battle item, its recent buffs, has definitely put it a tier above a lot of the other options. We've even seen some top teams opting into running X speed on a few different characters, mostly the tank role, but sometimes even the support player, to try to get out of these slow smoke situations they often find themselves in.
KO Striga 2, what is happening? What is happening down there? Good night.
Bot lane absolutely brawling here. Sulu getting a lot of damage in on this Garchomp immediately, though.
And Feather's working through. They're able to take the KO, and oh my, this is not the game that FyB wanted, especially not in the first 54 seconds. Are you kidding me? 4 KOs? 4 players already went down?
Yeah, I was saying before that FyB had a pretty nice early game angle, but it quickly swept away from them with all those KOs around that Dreadnought fight, but things are not looking the same way. Owl with a huge early game start, Feather and Sulu already at 5.
I mean, the teamwork between Feather and Sulu to just isolate and pick up all those bees is just immaculate and practiced. You can tell.
Yes, absolutely. Right now, FyB is going to be running that Garchomp pick, which means they're really going to be hurting in this early game, especially in top lane, but it's going to give them some really nice objective work and a high damage character that's paired with CC. Not often do we get to see those two attributes linked up, but in that Pokemon, we really do get to see it. Bot lane, definitely going to be a brawl back and forth. We saw some KOs out of FyB and Sulu in getting some KOs in that top lane. Another one for Feather, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Sulu doing their best impression of American Gothic here. They're farming, baby. So they're getting their buffs, and they're going to see who they're going to move to. I'm not even convinced Feather needs the help right now. So interested to see if Sulu decides to, yeah, maybe I'll just go on and head downstairs. I mean, they already have 72 KOs there anyways, but at least there's an opportunity for me to pick up a couple myself and get myself on the stat sheet, because right now, Sulu's looking like the one that ain't lifting too much weight here as the Ivysaur exacts a little bit of vengeance there in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Joe definitely has to get vengeance for the KO on Delusion. The Cinderace goes so deep and gets absolutely dived on by Sulu.
What are you doing, Ace? What are you doing? You are far too forward, FyB, and for Team FyB, and they almost got picked off for that maneuver there, and that's a horrible time to go down this close to Dreadnought. But look at that, Sulu eyeing them up again with another Brave Bird dive in, and can they finish it up this time in the goal zone? And they're working through. Finally, no, Sulu gets picked off. A great maneuver by FyB to crash onto that farmer there, the American Gothic Sulu, as now the KOs are flowing a little bit and they're able to get the Ivysaur for Owl Gaming.
Really nice play by FyB's Eldegoss there, actually. They were able to throw that Leaf Tornado onto Sulu just in time to get that really slow speed onto that Pokemon. That allowed Sulu not to be able to get in a couple of extra crucial auto attacks, but here we go. There's the Dreadnought Secure!
Oh, a Unite move! Come on, Slowbro goes down. That's another down with on the back of Feather, and now everybody's coming in. Wigglytuff gets in the action, getting some KOs. Of course, there's 2 KOs for Sulu. Even Wigglytuff getting in there, smacking him up like E-Honda. Everybody's catching hands down in that bottom lane, Zoinks.
Yeah, Sulu definitely saying, no team, I promise, going in is worth it. And they get to showcase it there with a really nice dive that pays dividends. The Dreadnought Secure and like 3 KOs in the bot lane to boot. Rotom getting absolutely shredded here by FyB though, and they're going to be awarded that Pokemon, going to be heading down the opposite way. Another dive by Sulu though.
Well, they got to find those strong legs I was talking about earlier, because these KOs are raining in. Finally, Feather goes down, but they're still down 2 down on FyB. And finally, Sulu bites the dust here, as that's another KO, and now they're bringing a little bit of parry in his top lane. Look at Don chipping into this Rotom, doing their best here, as Jeb Password Protect is doing their best on the Slowbro, and honestly, it's looked pretty clean so far.
Yeah, really nice play out of FyB there in the top lane. That Blaze Kick Cinderace definitely going to be showcasing the movement ability and the strength of that Pokemon right now. Able to do a little bit of a Goomba Stomp, hop in, and swipe that KO out from under everyone's nose. But already a little bit of presence shown in that bot lane. Right now, FyB playing a little bit behind in those terms of those levels. The Dreadnought doing a lot of favors for Team Owl right now means that FyB is going to be wanting to be playing packed up and as a squad. Any stray KOs or outliers they find is going to be giving them so much value in terms of experience.
Jeb getting in the 14, leaving 1 on the docket here as Jeb is trying to protect that goal zone, not let it go down in the face of Feather and Sulu, but it does, and now they have to fight for their life here as the Slowbro is just trying to make their way out, and Feather retreats as well. They're saying, we're not worried about this KO, we were just worried about the points here, but look at this Unite move kicking off in the bottom lane as Venusaur's rolling in, and now they have a concerted effort pushing in the bottom goal zone. Here we go, Sulu comes in, KO streak of 2 for the Venusaur, Unite move after the Brave Bird kind of shanks and misses, but now it's on this Garchomp to close the door on Sulu. Can they do it with the Eldegoss Unite move coming through? Not quite yet. Owl's getting picked up by a Butterberry here, and now they're working through and they're able to get a KO on the Garchomp, coming back in with a Brave Bird moving in, and Wazop is trying to do their best as they're chipping into Feather, who comes in and eats a Bone Rush, and now Joe's coming through with a Giga Drain Pedal Dance, and how is this Sulu still up right now? That's another KO for them on the Eldegoss, and the Venusaur eats the Venusaur, and Venusaur crime, and I need a breath. Zoinks, what is going on?
Elo is what's going on. Or not Elo, Ace. The Cinderace player on a FyB. A fantastic Blaze Bicycle Kick to absolutely delete Talonflame. Almost no defensive stats on that character. And that Unite move demolishes their health bar. Gets that Pokemon out of the way. That's the main damage threat. And then they were able to just auto-attack. A button press for the Dreadnought. They got a couple other KOs in the mix right there. We're seeing a KO streak of 2. I believe that's their second KO streak of 2 in this one team fight. So really nice maneuver. This Talonflame threat right now is blocking the score attempt.
Look at that, pushing 2 out of the goal zone with the Unite move after the Brave Bird. Looking good. So that was a great push by FyB, but now Sulu trying to put the team on their back and make a difference. But there's Ice again, a name that we can't stop saying here in these last 2 minutes. They're making their presence felt. They forgot about game 1 and said, I'm back, baby, game 2. Let's do this. FyB in the action, and look at that goal zone. That's another one closed out. And this is a complete reversal of what we saw out of FyB game 1.
Absolutely. And this is right now where FyB's team comp is going to sing. We have Garchomp and Venusaur on this squad, 2 Pokemon that love to scale and get those experiences up, but more than that, they love when these team fights last long. Now, on the other side, Owl is playing this Talonflame, a very explosive character. They want to get nice dives, and they want to get immediate KOs. If they're not being awarded that, these team fights are going to be very hard with all this chip damage and sustain that is going to be coming out of FyB Gaming. However, this Rotom going into this Tier 2 goal zone is going to be a massive threat, especially with no Dreadnought on the respawn timer. That means its objective was completely uncontested for, meaning that FyB was dedicating all their time to farm.
Absolutely, and that's something they need. They were down behind in experience in game 1. Didn't want to have the same mistake twice. All of FyB has crashed around Rotom here, giving us that vision is the Rotom on where they are. So that's 3 players there, and now all of Owl Gaming is moving downstairs to keep their farming on the contestable Bs here and getting their lion's share of that. Garchomp peeling through the middle, seeing Lush. Are we going to get some action there? We're taking a look. Sulu does as well, and now they're moving up. Pedal Dance, Giga Drain coming in through, and they buy themselves a little bit of time here, as now FyB is just posturing and not willing to engage, but that Garchomp gotten chunked, and they have about 20% of their HP gone. Zapdos is here, and that HP might be the difference, because it is a close battle.
Yeah, here comes Sulu trying to posture up for this dive, and now it begins. A huge splash amount of damage, but the Eldegoss Unite move is already brought out, as well as the Talonflame.
Here we go. Buddy Berries are flying everywhere. Wazop might be the first one on the chopping block. They are. Talonflame rips through them. Another Brave Bird coming through. And now the Dinosaur and the Venusaur. But look, there are 3 players down. 3 players down for Owl Gaming. And then Sulu makes it to 4th. And it's just the Venusaur standing. And the whole squad is down. The whole squad is down. And now FyB Gaming has their opportunity to bring some parity in this one, as they are ripping through Zapdos. And all of those goal zones are free for those double buckets. And here on Unite Mics, we call them duckets. And it's all about FyB converting now.
Yeah, definitely. They have to find a way to actually get these scores in. The goal zones being defenseless is obviously going to be a huge boon, but okay, they do make it through. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 scores all in there. That's a 400-point gap right now that Owl has to overcome in 1 minute. They definitely have a lot of full pockets, but with those 2 Pokemon going down, that is tragic. I do not see this one turning around, and yeah, the surrender vote happens. Yo, shout out to the MVP of that team fight. I absolutely have to award is Password Protect. That Unite move onto Sulu as soon as they dived into the center, that Slowbro Unite move is not something to joke about. A huge shutdown ability and completely nullifies any value they would have found with the aerial ace maneuvers in the midst of that team fight. Locks them down in place, not to mention all the buddy barrier health that moved on up. Was up getting a really nice Cotton Cloud crash in there as well. The sustain and long scaling team fight FyB wanted, they were awarded, and they got a great team fight win, converted on that Zapdos, and they made this match a 1-1 setup.
Absolutely. Not a lot of bullying here by Owl Gaming or FyB for that matter. Kind of remained at parity. I thought Owl was getting the advantage there, but very, very clean play in the last 2 minutes and 30-ish seconds of that game really was the difference here. And FyB joined up, locked hands, and said, this is where we do it. This is our stand here. Let's keep our tournament alive. Ice looked amazing in that bottom lane for those 2.5 minutes. I think they were almost unstoppable. So, I mean, a lot of credit to FyB fighting back and literally giving us a black and white experience from their game 1 to their game 2.
Yeah, definitely Owl maybe flubbing that team fight a little bit in the very end. That Slowbro, like, such a gigantic threat and netted that Unite move. They did what they needed to do in that team fight. So shout outs to FyB, but let's see how Owl can adapt headed into game 3.
What does Owl Gaming actually need to do? And for me, you mentioned it. It's just keep it together for that last 2 minutes. Not that they were playing exceedingly bad by any means, but they played just a hair more loose than they did in game 1. That was just the seam that FyB Gaming needed, and to their credit, executed perfectly to get it done in that moment. Not letting Feather run rampant in that one either.
Honestly, yeah, I completely agree. That team fight was a little bit flubbed at the end, but I really do think what they could have done to set themselves up better is just in that mid-game section. They were awarding, honestly, Ice a lot of value on that Talonflame. They were letting them get away a little bit too often. Sulu diving really far in to chase these KOs, but not many other Pokemon on their team were able to follow up. It's great if Sulu was able to close those KOs, but if they're not getting that, they don't really have a great backdoor unless they have backup from Dawn or Lush. And in those couple situations, I think they paid for it in the end game when they let FyB get quite scaled for that final team fight.
No, that's bang on. We are watching again from Sulu's point of view of Owl Gaming. So one thing, if I can just throw a little bucket list item or a wish list item, we'll say, for this game 3 here, I want to see an epic Brave Bird into a Unite move and just catch 2, 3, 4 players. It seems like that's Sulu's kind of go-to move when things are getting a little froggy in the middle, and I'd love to see it finally land. I know they caught the Garchomp and the Slowbro there in game 2, able to keep them from scoring kind of in that bottom lane kerfuffle, but I want to see like a 4-pack come through. That's my wish list item for Sulu in game 3. As we are ready to drop down into the action here, I did update the score. Can you believe it? The kid's up. Of course, I used white font, so you can't even see it in this character select screen here, but we're tied at 1, and the winner of this punches their ticket to the February finals next weekend on 2/26/2022, but we're in the action now.
Yeah, we gotta live in the moment, even when we're casting in the past. Sulu going to be playing that Talonflame. Hey, they get Grass Side again. Like I say, this is always that really nice rotation. Allows them to really pick either side that they want to find the gank on early. Probably going to be rotating into that lane. Sululu, I've noticed on this Talonflame, has some really fast clears. They're really strong at making sure this jungle is deleted in optimal timing and able to find either one of those ganks. Owl Gaming seems like a team that, if one of their strengths that I could credit is definitely seems to be their communication. Not to mention their strong mechanics and everything like that. They're a top team for a reason, but the communication for me really sets them apart, especially Owl and Feather working in tandem in that top.
Yeah, they're used to working together in tandem, as you mentioned. And I think we might see that action coming again as we see a traditional from FyB Gaming, from FyB, the traditional 2-1-2, kind of what you see on ranked ladder if you're playing in solo or duo queue here. That doesn't mean it can't work. It just means it presents different challenges for these teams to overcome. Owl Gaming adjusting, and almost every time means Sulu is going to roll up top and see if they can really make a difference up there.
Mm-hmm. It's actually something really interesting that you bring up. It's just regional metas, and we're covering OCE right now, one we don't normally cover. Ooh, nice smoke engage, but a nice escape out of the Garchomp, using their movement ability to completely negate that slow smoke ability and gets them that free exit. Really nice tech out of that Garchomp player.
Yeah, great tech out of that Garchomp player, and leaves no one worse for wear here. Sulu just says, yep, back to my American Gothic mode. I'm going to hold my pitchfork, and it's time to farm.
Absolutely. We are now going to be, setting up the homestead inside this jungle for sure. Sulu maybe seeing if they need to go help Feather at all, but in this situation, they also are able to get vision of that enemy Cinderace. They know that they are clearing that center jungle, and now they know that is going to be a position of threat when it comes to this bot lane fight. We're not even at the 8-minute mark yet, so still a minute away of Dreadnought. So now that at level 7, Sulu having that Talonflame, all their moves unlocked are going to be quite a big threat, whatever direction they want to go. But that lurking Cinderace threat is always going to be in the mid jungle. And here we go, Sulu starts warding the center.
Yeah, Sulu keeping an eye on that top goal zone, making sure that Feather doesn't need any support as they're going to work through this middle pack of Corphish. Something I want to point out, FyB not getting blown out in the bottom lane as early as they did in that game too. A lot of KOs were reined in, but that didn't actually end up meaning the difference in that one. So you got to think they're a little bit more comfortable not having gone down so many times here in the first opening minutes.
That's true. I'm looking also at the level distribution in this bot lane, and right now it seems like Owl Gaming has been absolutely shredding the last hits on the Wild Mods. Nice engage by Feather. Early rotation out of both top laners in this fight.
Absolutely. They're all there, and they're all there to party because Sulu is coming in with a Brave Bird. Now they have to retreat a little bit off the back of the rest of their team as Feather, Don, and Lush are giving a little bit of space, but that's a KO for the Eldegoss with Lush in tandem. Brave Bird comes in. Are they going to be able to pick off this Gabite? They are not. Sulu goes down, and that's not where they want to be as Dreadnought just populated on the screen.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow, what a dive. But like I said, another situation where the HP bars out of Owl were just a little bit too low for anyone to follow up. Feather was there, but I think Lush was, hey man, I'm about to get KO. We got to get back. And now the Dreadnought's already down to half HP.
Oh, we're looking for the Brave Bird here. And of course, the Eldegoss picks it up. That's a Brave Bird into the mix. Now they're going to be able to rain in these KOs. And that's a Unite move. It chunks it. It didn't catch anybody, but the whole squad is down. And now we're moving through. Is that Don, the Eldegoss? The Don Juan Cotton Ball King getting so many KOs there in the bottom lane. Lush getting in the action too. And heck be it, these support players are looking good.
Yeah, no kidding. Lush with a amazing Sing engage. And you have to remember, Sing and this Sulu Unite move are on almost the same cooldown. Let's face it, Talonflame earns this Unite move so darn fast. And that's going to make the decision for FyB of where to use their full heals in a really interesting place. Because they have to use them to save themselves from Sing, or they get absolutely T-birded by Sulu's maneuvers here. So you have to have a choice.
Another Brave Bird coming in, and that is sealed up by Owl Gaming as they're pushing, and now they're going to try and get these KOs. That's 2 down. Are they going to work on this Garchomp Gabite? They are, and they get them down, and now they're working 3 KO streak of 2. And look at all the Eos energy everywhere, and they're able to close it out right before the Rotom gets there, which means that Rotom is going downtown to that second tier goal zone.
Excellent work, and they're even able to throw in some points in the second tier goal zone because of how long these respawn timers have been hitting for FyB. Really nice plays across the board. Venusaur getting some scaling stack goals in the bottom lane, really clearing open. Honestly, this game is going so well for Owl right now. They are not giving FyB a chance to come back anywhere in this game. This second Dreadnought is looking like one of the only win conditions for the side of FyB.
For this matchup, it seems like Owl Gaming finds that their experience comes from taking the body here, and they've done so expertly in this one, getting that experience advantage. And you saw how much farm was just on the map. They don't need it. They're taking the body. They're getting it the hard way.
Absolutely. And I was just saying, the win condition is definitely going to be this Dreadnought out of FyB, but look at this. They're just going to have to give... Oh, never mind. They are here ready to fight. They listened to my call. They are ready to go.
They're all bunched up, and the Brave Bird is eyeing someone down. Who's it going to be? Who's on the chopping block? Comes into the back line and going to use the Unite Me back there, but gets caught on the corner of the rock there, and they're unable to get, and now that gives the Garchomp the opportunity to take the Dreadnought, and now we're fighting downstairs, but one team has the experience, one team has the shields, and now we're working through as slowly but surely. Owl Gaming falls like dominoes in the face of FyB, and they're working through Joe. They are on the chopping block. Can they close the door on them? Nobody's on the goal zone, which is a good sign. KO streak of 3 for the Cinderace, and FyB Gaming has to feel good as Owl Joe is doing their best impression of a lone soldier in that beach area, but finally their chapter is closed.
Yeah, Joe definitely in the trenches in that situation, but it sets Feather up for a really nice maneuver here, and they net themselves 2 KOs. Venusaur's late game survivability and damage are nothing to be questioned. Make it a 3-piece, why not? Feather off screen, unfortunately, but is absolutely shredding and netting themselves these KOs. This Rotom, again, is going to be heading all the way down to home base. The macro gameplay out of Owl has been fantastic this game, and these objectives are all getting awarded onto their side. That last Dreadnought maybe not, but everything else is going to be going their way, and right now every lane is paying off. Sulu at 13 and some change at 3 minutes. We're definitely looking at a level 14 Talonflame for this final team fight, maybe even ticking up to 15 if the Venusaur doesn't hog all the farm.
Absolutely. Huge red flag for me. I'm looking at FyB Gaming, or FyB's side of the board here, and they have so many yellow pips all across their map, and that is a B that catches the broad side of a Unite move there. Suluwu, not worried about that action. They're going to get it back in time for sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe a little worried. They definitely had to use it for survivability, and with all of the jungle being completely erased by Joe on that Venusaur, they're going to need to find some way to earn it back. Only 30 seconds, and at 37%, they'll probably get it mid-fight, but that means that the Talonflame has to survive until mid-fight, which historically has not always been the case. 20 seconds until the Zapdos has appeared, and they have enough vision of FyB Gaming to know that the Dreadnought has not been their main focus.
Absolutely. They're actually chasing FyB right now. And now Owl Gaming's going to come Brave Bird across the map there out of nowhere over the fountain and into the mix. And that's just working in tandem with the Venusaur Joe and Nat Suluwu, Brave Bird, and Petal Dance Giga Drain combination. They're right on the Zapdos with the KOs, with 2 KOs onto FyB, and they think they've got the advantage, and I think they do too, as here comes the Venusaur, and they're going to try and make a Hail Mary play, but they're cut off by Joe, and that's a Cotton Crash Eldegoss that's taken to the skies, and they land, and here we go. Owl Gaming takes the Zapdos in the face of the opposing squad. 1 down here on each. They're eating that Unite move, but that's a Unite move down the gut into the Slowbro's face just to get more points in. That's a hundo burger. That's straight ducats.
Yeah, shades of score comp, but a Suluwu just throwing in the Talonflame Unite move all the way to the goal zone just to get some scores in. Hey, a little bit of hope for FyB Gaming that Eldegoss is able to dive in a ducat in their first tier goal zone, and now FyB Gaming is absolutely rushing in. Suluwu on super low HP. Hey, that's all they wanted. They wanted to go back to base to defend. Cinderace gave them that reward. Feather not able to back in time now.
Yeah, Slowbro closing out. That's a hundo burger, straight ducats in the top lane here. And now FyB moving very, very closely together here. They're going to put the push, and that's a long cooldown here for Suluwu. They're going to try and get back in the action soon. Can the Eldegoss going to have to go cut off the Slowbro, or they're going to leave them to their vices here? They know the Garchomp has full pockets, and they're still maneuvering around trying to get to that goal zone. But now you have Joe, now you have Suluwu, and getting them in the mix, the heavy hitters are going to be able to seal up this defense, in my opinion. And there you go. Opposing team surrenders on the nose.
Yeah, it's true. You have the hope, you have the points, but the problem is that goal zone is defended by none other than a level 15 Feather on the Lucario. Like that, what a final boss to have to go into a 1v1 against to try to get your scores in. What a terrible situation to find yourselves in. 635 to 261. Things got a little hairy near the end, a couple people being KO'd, but that did not matter. The macro gameplay was all Owl, all game, and they were able to even net themselves the Zapdos at the very end. A pretty early rip, but it did pay off.
Paid off indeed, as Owl Gaming punches their ticket into the February finals for the OCE region.